Hey, it's Chris. Today I'm going to be talking about an iPhone case. Well, a couple iPhone cases, which is weird, right? Because back in the day, I used to make videos about some iPhone cases because it was like a cheap thing to get a hold of and easy subject matter. But these days, I don't really talk about them all that much. But today, I do want to make an exception and talk about the case that's on this phone right here. You might not even be able to tell that it's got a case on, which is basically the point. Because look, here's the thing. I get sent a lot of cases and accessories for free, people that want to get featured on the channel. But this year, I went out and I picked out a case that I wanted specifically, which you're looking at right here. This is the Peel Ultra Thin case, which is absolutely gorgeous, and it's gorgeous because it lets the iPhone be the iPhone, doesn't cover it up. All right, now here's the backstory. This phone over here on the left, the gold phone, does not have a case on. The phone in my right hand does. Obviously, in terms of appreciating your iPhone, there's nothing like having just a naked iPhone because it's such a great device. And the second you stick a really thick, heavy case on there, like this spec case that I have, and nothing against spec, I just happen to have this sitting around here and it became a test subject for this video. But the second that you stick a really heavy duty case on your phone, it just doesn't feel like the same nice luxury object anymore. It's just not as good. See, for the last 4 or so months with my 12 Pro Max, I went caseless and I absolutely loved it. I loved that experience, but there were a few times when it slipped out of my pocket and hit the concrete and got scratched up, dinged up, and then I didn't like it as much, right? Going without the case. So it's like, well, what's the best I can do? What's the best of both worlds? Well, I can get an ultra thin case like this. And this is nothing new, right? Ultra thin cases have been around for a long time. Peel's not the only company that makes them. It's just that Peel is the first ultra thin case that I ever used several years ago. And I know Totally's come out with some. There's a bunch of off brands as well, but I wanted to experience what the Peel case was like today. And you know what? I was surprised when I took this out and started messing around with it. It is different than the Peel case of a few years ago, right? They've updated it. And I like it a lot better now, by the way. This one in my left hand here, that's the old Peel case. It's kind of a legacy case. And the one in the right, this is a newer model. Now the differences are super, super subtle. I'm guessing from the camera angle here, you can't even tell. So I'll try to stick in some B-roll shots here to help you tell the difference. But the one on the left here, this is the legacy case. It's got some texture here. It's a little bit thicker, it feels like. And one of the big differences here is that the older version has button covers. So your volume buttons, those are covered, your power button covered. But in the new model, it's just totally minimal. There's no cover there. And actually it's kind of cool because this whole side here is flush now. So if I run my finger over it, the buttons don't stick out, and that makes them a little less likely to be pressed accidentally, which is good. And I don't really need those to be covered anyways. All right, but even with this newer model, feeling a little bit thinner and more minimal, even than the last iteration, you still get some camera bump protection here. Now, the big knock against using a really ultra minimal thin case like this is that it's just not as protective as a bulkier case. And I get that. And the thing is, I'm not that hard on my phones to begin with. And so I'm okay with a minimal amount of protection. So basically protection against cosmetic things like scratches. If I drop it 4 feet, it's not gonna get dented or scraped or scratched up. And that's really what mattered the most to me. And I'll tell you what, for my phones, I traditionally never get a screen protector. Some people are all about it. They get a new one, slap a screen protector on. I have never done that on my phone. It's not like the Paper-like on my iPad, which I have to have on there because it adds something for the Apple Pencil, right? That makes that experience different. This is just pure protection. Well, guess what? You probably can't tell, but I've got a screen protector on here too. And by the way, none of this is sponsored, okay? I'm just sharing with you my actual personal setup here, but there is a Peel screen protector on here. I saw it on the site when I was ordering this ultra thin case, and I said, what the heck? I'm gonna give it a try. I installed it, and I didn't get it right the first time. There were some air pockets. I got a toothpick and I was prying it off, right, to just throw it in the trash, which was a bummer because it was like 30 bucks, right? But then as I peeled it up, I noticed that, hey, it's peeled off over the air bubble that was giving me trouble. And I tried to lay it back down again and I got all the air bubbles out and boom, it fit so perfectly. Again, to the point where you can't even tell that it's on here, which I love. And I don't know what it's like with other companies, but this is a system I've noticed. So with the screen protector on the top and this ultra thin case on the side, there's zero gap. So when I run my finger over the top, it's like the lip that case makers make on the side so that when you put it face down on a surface, it will protect the screen. That's gone. It's like perfectly flat. And that is actually pretty cool too, because I don't like having that lip on there. But then again, I don't need it because I've got my screen protector with the screen protector. So I gotta say, I am absolutely loving this ultra minimal, super sleek setup. I barely even realize that I've got a case on here, that I've got a screen protector on here. And for me, that is the entire point, the purpose of this purchase. So I don't have anything bad to say about a really bulky, extra protective case like this one from Spec, which I'll link up down in the description, by the way, if you want to check it out, if you like the way it looks. Some people just like that. But I am absolutely all about letting the iPhone color shine through, get the personality. I mean, I purchased this thing. I got this new color on purpose. It's nice to be able to look at it and to see it, as opposed to just seeing the color in this little square here where the camera bump shows through. Now, that said, it's a little bit slippery. Not as slippery as the older Peel case, I will say. But guess what? It's no more slippery than just a regular iPhone without a case either. So it's not really any different, except these are both slippery, but this one has some protection and this one doesn't. I really, really liked not having a case on my iPhone for the last part of last year, but I will say I really got sick of those micro scratches. I got the ceramic shield, right? And it still got scratched up here and there. That might be better if you drop it in terms of the screen integrity and not cracking as easily, but it still got micro scratches and they drive me nuts. And already, since I've got this installed, it's only been like a couple of days, there have been some micro scratches on here, but now it's on the screen protector, it's not on my screen underneath, so that feels better. And I don't know what it's like for you guys, but when I dinged and dented up my old iPhone 12 Pro Max, not to the point where I couldn't trade it back in to my cell phone carrier, right? But just it was cosmetically damaged and it bugged me. That usually happened when I would sit down in a chair and it would slide out of my pocket. That is the worst. And it happened, no matter how careful I was, a few times, maybe like once a month or something. So I don't know, for me, for somebody like me that really prefers this minimal setup here, this has just been ideal. I've only had it for a couple days, this setup, and it did cost about 60 bucks, I guess, 30 or so for the case, 30 or so for the screen protector, but they go so well together. I cannot recommend this more highly to anybody out there if you're looking for a minimal setup. Now, some things I want to point out. It doesn't get in my way with some kind of weird film or filter. You know, sometimes I've had some screen protectors that darken the screen a little bit or something. This doesn't have that. It seems to be pretty clear. In fact, when these two are together, this one doesn't have a screen protector and this one does, I can't really even notice a difference, to be honest. Although it feels a little bit more slippery to the touch when I have the screen protector on over here. But in terms of doing things, whether it's texting or gaming, this has also been ideal because it's not chunky, it doesn't get in the way. So I've been playing way too much Star Wars Lego battles or whatever it is in Apple Arcade. That's pretty fun. And yeah, I mean, my finger glides along here, right, as I'm unleashing devastation in the form of stormtroopers and Boba Fett. And actually, when I'm doing something like reading news and I'm scrolling, and I got this 120 hertz going on, by the way, when I'm scrolling, this glass screen protector, it just glides. So I'm really liking that. And so in terms of just experiencing my phone, again, I really just have nothing bad to say about this setup. And I know I'm gushing here, but that's because it's exactly what I wanted. You guys know I've been obsessed with Jarvis, the AI writing assistant. And usually I get my Jarvis work, let's call it work, done on the iPad, on the Mac, right? Where I hit the compose button and it can just type for me based on the inputs that I've given it. Super useful, super helpful. But sometimes I can log in on my phone and people wonder if I actually pay for it. Yeah, I do, right? I pay for the boss mode plan because I find it that useful. I'm just gonna open up a document that I had going. I'm gonna hit the control button and it's just gonna start typing out for me right here. And I can get that done. And this screen protector, this case is so lightweight. I mean, I can feel like I can get some real work done. It's just not a hindrance in any way, shape, or form, this setup. You know, if I'm on Instagram and I'm just scrolling through the feed, or I'm looking at the stories, the details are coming through, and it doesn't feel like this is getting in the way. And that is, again, the exact point of this setup. You know, that's enough gushing. I just wanted to share with you, this is kind of a throwaway video. I'm not even sure people are interested in this. I put it out there in a tweet. I was like, hey, I'm getting these, you know, are you guys interested? And a lot of people said yes. So I'm making this video just to share with you my enthusiasm surrounding the case and the screen protector that I ended up with, that I chose myself. Not that some company sent me, it was just free. Like, this is what I went out and wanted and got, and I really love it. So I'm gonna link them up down below if you wanna check them out, and I'll link up the spec case too in case that appeals more to you. You do wanna make sure that you have a little bit extra protection. In that department, the spec case is actually really nice. And it's not like the spec case is even that bulky. It really isn't. I just like the look. If I'm getting an iPhone, I just like to see it. And that's what this peel case lets me do. Hey, by the way, if you're new around here, let me just say, if you like the vibe of this channel, you might as well get subscribed, because I've got a what's on my iPhone video coming out shortly, not to mention a what's on my iPad, Mac, etc. And I don't want you to miss it. But yeah, that's it for this video. It was just something different. We'll get back to the extra useful tips and tricks and reviews. I got a lot of stuff that I still need to review and get up on the channel for you. So that's coming up. Get subscribed. Check out the podcast if you're new around here. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Daily Tech, spelled Daily Tekk, and both of those spots. And I'll catch you in the next video. Later.